and thank you so much for joining me for Tune In Tuesday. My name is Sharon Rogers, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine. The fourth Tuesday of the month is an online card class, and tonight features the Spotlight on Nature bundle. Now, this bundle consists of this beautiful stamp set, which is lovely coming in advance of Mother's Day, as well as dies that have 12 decorative circles, puts decorative edges on those circles. Now, this makes an odd bundle, right? Because these have nothing to do with this. However, I'll show you tonight how you can use them together. But this set right here, I think this is a staple. I think this is a really great set. Even if this is not your jam, this should be your jam. Anyway, let's get started, and I'm going to show you some pretty quick and easy cards, but they're a little bit outside the box of how you might probably typically use your Spotlight on Nature stamp set. All right, let's make a quick and simple card. Well, it's sort of simple. I mean, it's pretty simple. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring in a blending brush. And this is pretty clean. It's got a little bit of purple staining, but I'm going to be using purple colors. A Bubble Bath, which is a pinky purple, Fresh Freesia, which is a little bit more purple, and Gorgeous Grape. I could have brought in Highland Heather too, but I think I like this gradation of color best. I've cut this piece of basic white to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's the size of a card front. And I did that purposefully out of this instead of masking paper because I want it to just be a little bit simpler to use, and I want it to hold up. So the cardstock weight is going to hold up better. We're going to be taking another piece of basic white, and this is really what's going to be on our finished project. So it's the same size. Well, this one we're going to cut down a little bit. I am bringing in the Spotlight on Nature dies. Doesn't matter which one you do here. I do want one that fills up the card quite a bit. Not that much, I don't think. So maybe I'll use this one. Let me see if on the other set there's one. I think they're pretty much the same. Yeah. All right. So doesn't matter about the design here. I'm really not using that at all. I'm just using it to cut out a circle to create a mask. Bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And we have plates 1, 2, and 3. Now I want this pretty centered as far as left and right goes, and then about the same distance down from the top. And then we'll just put a top plate on here and run this through. Okay. So this is pretty, and I can use this for another project. Not now. I'm gonna put this away, and we'll put it back where it belongs. Now, I can stack these right on top of one another, and that's the look I'm going for. I'm going to begin with my lightest color ink. Now, it's a good idea, probably, if you wanted to hold this down a little bit to use some repositionable tape, you can do that. You could use some green tape. You could use some washi tape, all sorts of things. All right, I've got 2 of them down, and I'm going to hold it as well. I'm going to start with my Bubble Bath ink. Let's get some on my brush loaded. I am going to take a piece of scrap paper and get off that first little bit here. There we go. Let's ink up. Let's ink up some more. All right. Okay. And now I'm going to hold this down. I'm just going to be lightly adding some color here in this corner. You can barely see it, right? It's all right, we're gonna keep going. This is a pretty light pink, so we're just gonna get a little bit going here. And then I'm going to close that up. And because I'm moving to a darker ink, I do not have to clean my brush. All right. Now I'm moving over a little bit, and I'm overlapping them a little bit too. Just putting this in here and getting a little bit darker as I go to the top. So I'm coming down here just to blend it a little bit more. Maybe ink up a little bit more. Bring it down and blend it. I want to make sure I get in here by the edges pretty well. All right. And if it's not totally even, that's great. I mean, that's the look we're going for. We're going for a bit of a words are hard for me tonight. You know what I'm talking about. We're going for just this graded color look here. And I know there's a term for it. And when I edit this video, I hope to put it in there. But here we go. And make sure you get those edges nicely done. Those are nice and dark. Maybe come down and just put in a little bit, because right now it's very, very light on this brush. It just kind of blending all things together. Let's see what happens when we remove our tape. Got to do that carefully. And now remember, this is the top part doesn't matter because we're not using this top card. We're using the bottom card. So there we have that prettiness right there. I'm going to bring in my Spotlight on Nature stamp set. And we will use this largest. And you know what? I don't have my blocks. Look at that pretty new block. Okay. We'll use our Tuxedo Memento Black. And because it's such a big stamp, we can go ahead and ink it up upside down. Makes it a little bit easier. Let's just stamp this sort of on and sort of off. Nice even pressure down and up. Pretty, pretty. And then we can add a butterfly, which again, I need my blocks for, but they're not unpacked from my retreat yet. So we'll use a paper pumpkin block. I have a lot of those around from the Kits collection. And let's put our butterfly up here. Cute. And then we are going to go ahead and stamp a sentiment. Before I do the next card, I have got to get my blocks out and my stamp cleaner out. All right, and we're gonna stay with our Memento ink. Right down there like that. Dear friend. So we're just using one stamp set, a few colors, and then we can put this on a purple card base, or if you're like me and you like white on white, you can just pop this. Oh, that's the wrong size. So this is 4 by 5 1/4 and the card base is just a slight bit smaller. Now, so we have white on white, and to get it to show up and make a little bit more of an impact, you're going to use dimensionals. Now, you could also emboss this with just some texture if you wanted to. But we're going to keep this fairly simple. And I want to make sure it definitely pops up. So we're going to put on 6 here. Make that those edges really stand off. And I don't know where my trash can went, so we'll just do this. And then we, come on, I wasn't ready to put you down yet. Just put that right on there. And then we have a nice, you can see the edges. So it just gives a little bit more of a finished look. And of course, we can bling this up. We can keep it just like this, or we can bling it up. And I would think that probably the best way to bling it up would be just for some regular rhinestones. We don't have to get really fancy here. We can just put on some basic rhinestone jewels and call it good. So let's see, I think I want to put, well, I know I want to put a larger one down here. That's good. And then we'll put maybe one up here. And maybe we could put one on the butterfly's head too. Call attention there. So we've got our little triangle of gems. Really very simple card. Did you know that there is a new Stampin' Rewards system in place at Stampin' Up? It used to be that hosts earned Stampin' Rewards, but now everyone who places an order of at least $20 earns Stampin' Rewards. You'll earn rewards in the amount of 10% of your merchandise total, as long as your merchandise total is at least $20, and that is good toward a future purchase. So when you're ordering, you're not only going to qualify for a class card kit if your order is $40 or more, but you will receive Stampin' Rewards of at least $4 toward a future purchase. 10% is 10%, and who doesn't love free? I'm so happy that Stampin' Up! Has decided to reward customers and not just hosts now. So I hope you'll agree that this is a great change and something to look forward to. For this next card, I was inspired by the Everyday You and Me Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. Now, this was on the last chance list and it did sell out. It was not on sale even, and it sold out, and I know why. The color combination is truly lovely. It is Wild Wheat and Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock, and I just love it. So that inspired this next card, as did a card that I'd seen online. And I'm going to begin by doing the same thing or something similar that I did with my last card. Now I've just got 2 square-ish pieces of basic white. Those are going to be my masks. I'll bring in my embossing machine again. Bring in our plates. I'm going to die cut both of these. And I'm keeping them roughly in the center so that I have room to work around the edges with my blending brushes. So we can just get these die cut all in one pass, I think. All right. So these Spotlight on Nature dies have nothing to do with nature, really. I mean, there's a couple of flowers on some, I suppose. We can use these for another project. add them to the pile. But they were sold together in a bundle. They're no longer going to be a bundle with the advent of the new catalog. So you can still get it at the bundled price right now. But I'm going to take these two and we're going to do something like a bokeh technique. Now, if you know what bokeh is, this is inspired a bit by this bokeh paper that is in the mini catalog that's going away. But the paper itself is not going away, so that's nice. I'm going to bring in 2 more blending brushes. This one's fairly clean. It's got a little bit of a yellow. This one's got Lost Lagoon already on it, which is perfect. I'm going to bring in a piece of basic white, and I don't need this quite so large. I think I'm going to cut it down to 5 inches by 3 3/4. I'm going to mat this eventually, so I'll go with this. And that wild wheat color is going away very shortly. It is one of the in colors, and so it's going away. Now there's a little dent in this cardstock right here. Not going to matter because I'm going to do something with it in a little bit. I'm going to bring my wild wheat in, and I'm going to take the smaller of my circles and kind of put this along the edge here. And just what I did before. Take off that harsh little bit first. Get my ink kind of all in there. And I'm going to go in circular motions around the edges. And I don't want it all to be the same strength, just like with the last one. So I'm just going to blend it, blend it, blend it, blend it. A little bit heavier on one side than the other. All right, so there we have that. And then we're going to do the same thing with our Lost Lagoon ink. So let me put that away. Get out my Lost Lagoon. I'm going to take the larger circle. I'm going to overlap them. Oops, that's very large. I wasn't wanting it to be that large. I'm going to use a punch, I think. I have a circle punch. Let's see what size circle punch this one is in comparison to this. Ooh, that's smaller. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. I should have used a smaller one of the circles. That's all right. We are going to make do with this. So let's actually, we'll put the smaller one down here and we'll keep going. So that's good. And this is, you can see it's regular typing paper. You can make a mask out of just about anything, including masking paper. So here we go. Just gonna put that ink in there. And I've got to be careful because I didn't adhere this down. I want to make sure I've got enough ink on my brush. I want to go around a little bit darker on the edges. There we go. All right, we're getting there. Now I'm going to take my stamp just like I did last time. I'm going to ink it up with my Memento Black. For those that have been around Stampin' Up! For a long time, our old pads that were felt pads often had that sound to it. It was kind of nice. All right, let's angle this a little bit. Okay, so there we have that. And we can add in a different sentiment this time. There's another sentiment that is in that stamp set. It is thanks. Let's get that out. And we're going to put the sentiment in Memento. Now let's see. Do I want it here? Here. I think I want it here again. So this is a great way to color flowers without coloring flowers. Let's see, I have a Pretty Peacock card base. Ooh, that's not the right size card base though. It doesn't seem to be anyways. Let's see. It's 4 1/4. Oh, not 5 1/2 though. It's definitely cut wrong. That's probably why it's in that piece. Let's see if this one's right. I bet it is. Okay, that one's got a nice border around it. And so we just need a mat here. We can use Lost Lagoon or we can use wild wheat. I have a bunch of wild wheat to use up. All right. That's the same size, so that's not gonna work. Oh, it's just a tad bit smaller. I mean larger. So we've got something that looks like that. Oh, I kind of like that. All right, now I said that we were gonna do something with this, and you have to do it after you've stamped, because otherwise you're gonna find that it's not gonna give you really great results because you can't stamp on uneven cardstock. So we're gonna bring in an embossing folder, and I'm gonna use something with an all over texture. Let's use the Exposed Brick 3D folder. Oops, don't use the wrapper, use the folder. Just gonna put that in here. All right, and we'll bring back our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And this time we only need our number 1 plate and our number 4 plate. So number 4 is over here. We'll put our fold through our machine first so we don't crack it. Oops, hold on, what's wrong? What's wrong here? Oh, number 2. That number 2 is not supposed to be on there still. When it's cranking hard, you gotta check to make sure that you're going through correctly. You don't want to force it unnecessarily. Let's see what this did, what effect this put on here. So it just gave it some interesting texture. See that? All right. Now let's go ahead and adhere it to our other layers. Just a little bit smaller than the wild wheat. All right, so there we go. Just have that wild wheat peeking out just a little bit. It would also look nice with the Pretty Peacock on top of wild wheat. Or bring in the Lost Lagoon, that would work as well. All right, let's add some dimensionals here. Let's put one in the middle. So because I've used my embossing folder, I'm treating that as an embellishment. I could add some more, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep it just the way it is. And there is my very, very pretty card. Just very, very simple. A nice thank you card. You could make up a bunch of these in no time. And of course, we have to do the inside. So here's a piece that's 4 by 5 1/4. And instead of stamping in black, because that's going to be kind of boring on the inside, I think what we'll do is we'll clean our stamp. And then we'll stamp it in that wild wheat. And I don't need to stamp it all the way there. I can just stamp it on a portion of it. So let's do that. Let's get this down here, and we'll just stamp just the top little bits of the flowers. And how about just that little bit right there? There we go. Looks a little greenish right now, but as it dries, it gets much more gold. When I first saw this color, I thought it looked like baby poop, which I still think it does, but it has grown on me, and with the right color combination, it works. Which is exactly what I said about a set of furniture that we have at church that one of our male team members purchased for the youth, and I'm thinking, why did you pick a color like that? It looked so ugly in the room, and now they've just redone the alley, which is our students' room, and it's got this kind of industrial chic kind of look to it, and those baby poop colored couches go beautifully in there now. It's so amazing what color can do, how it can change. So there we go. And this, I think, worked out nicely, even though I was planning on having the colors the opposite way. I think this works better because this is a little bit more of a leafy color. That's a little bit more of a flower color. It turned out well. You could have added another color, a third color over here. I suppose maybe a pretty peacock, but I thought 2 was enough. We don't need to fill up the whole paper. And of course, certainly it's now a little bit too late anyways. But there we go. Nice little thank you card. So those first 2 cards were fairly easy and quick, correct? Probably a little bit different than what you expected me to do with that stamp set. Now, before I get to the 3rd card, I want to just let you know that if you would like the cardstock and embellishments so that you can recreate 2 of each of the cards I create tonight, as well as 2 of Friday Night Live's card, then all you need to do is place an order of $40 or more in my online store. You can get the link for that in the description of this video. I'll send that out to you free of charge, no shipping, and you'll be able to recreate it. Now, if you don't have the Spotlight on Nature bundle, that's okay. You can create it with whatever floral set or whatever kind of set, and some circle punches, anything like that. But I think that the Spotlight on Nature bundle is certainly one worth considering for purchase, and especially those dies. Now let's get to the 3rd card. All right, for this next card, we're going to do something that you might expect. We're going to stamp and color in the flower. So how does that fit into kind of an out-of-the-box use of this? You will see. So I have a piece of cardstock here that measures, I think it is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Nope, not 4 1/4. 4. And I'm going to just stamp my flower right up like that. Okay, so we just have a regular flower standing up tall. You know what? I think it's standing a little sideways. Let's make it stand a little taller, because paper has two sides, we can do that. So I'm gonna make my, there we go, that looks a little bit better. Looks a little bit better to me. All right, there we go. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in some of my blends. These blends are the In Color blends from this year, 2024 to 2026. And I'm gonna use the Petunia Pop for the flower. I will start by coloring with the light. So this is going to be a pretty vibrant flower. And I'm very careful with my tips because I don't want them to break down. So I'm just very lightly coloring. Remember, these are, you need to treat them like a paintbrush more than a marker. If you've ever taken a paint class, you know you want to use some very light strokes so you don't get globby paint. All right, so there we have that. And really, I'm coloring more than I need to, and you will understand that comment in just a little bit. But I want to put this on there just like that, so that in case this shows, it'll be looking good. Okay. And I'm going to do, I'm going to pull in my light. Oh, actually, I should, no, I don't need to. I'm going to pull in my light Shy Shamrock Stampin' Blend. I put tape around this because if I use it in a class, I prefer people to use the bullet tip, because even with my warnings, sometimes people are a little bit rough with the marker edges, and these are kind of expensive to be rough with. All right, so now I'm just gonna pull in some of this very vibrant green. Be very careful with this stalk because it's very thin. And this one, I do expect to show this part here. And it's okay if I'm going outside a little bit with the green, because this is a very narrow stem. I want to give the illusion that it's green, so I have to go outside a little bit to do that. Oops, a little too outside on that one. Oh, I really messed that one up now. But we're going to bring in our color lifter for the rescue, at least to make it a little bit less noticeable. Some of those spots. All right, we'll just let it dry and lighten and do its thing. In the meantime, let me let that dry. I'm going to bring in a scrap here. I'm going to take my flowers. Where's my black ink? Oh, it's right here, right where I put it. I'm going to just take these little flowers here, and I'm going to stamp them on this scrap. Oop, that one didn't come out. That's okay. I don't think I'm going to use that one anyway. And I'm going to color these, and I'm going to color with both the light and the dark. So let's get the light back out, and we'll do the same thing that we did before. Okay, let's bring in the dark, and we're going to follow the shading from the artists. So I can put in a couple of these darker lines right here, but it's definitely darkest down by the base with a few folds in here and up here. So I'm just going to put a little shading where I see those lines. Same thing on the other side. The base is strong, and then it lightens up. And then if I come back over the top, and I like to come over the top with the bullet tip end, I can blend that a little bit better. It'll look a lot more professionally done if I blend them all together. And you want to really kind of blend when everything's wet still, because water moves around that way better. Okay, so it's still darker in places, and it's going to lighten up a bit as this dries. I'm going to come back over here now that my color lifter is probably dried, and I'm going to put in some darker shading in here. I'm just not coloring a ton, but see, you can't even see very much where I went out. You can a little bit, but you get the idea. Okay, so there is our flower. And what's going to make this special is we're going to, that's right, fussy cut. We're just going to make those flowers 3D. And if you really wanted it 3D, you could take these flowers and cut them again and cut out one little section and pop that on a little bit more. I'm not going to do that, but you could. So these are not hard to fussy cut. That's just going to go right there on a dimensional. And then the same will be true for the other one. It's okay if you cut a little bit on the inside, because remember, we colored in the flower that is going to be underneath it. All right, let's get our dimensionals out here. And I'm going to keep this one balanced by putting 2 dimensionals on. And then this guy, I think, is only large enough for 1. Yep. I'm going to put him. Now, remember a little trick I told you? If you have a white edge, you can color the edges, and then they are much less noticeable. You can do it with black, or in this case, you could do it with Petunia Pop. Just don't do it with the really nice end. Okay, and so you've got that one. You can curl it a little bit, make it accented even more that it's dimensional. But what I was saying is you could maybe cut out this one little petal here and pop that up some more for even more dimension. Same thing here, pop up this one right here for even more dimension. And then, of course, we need the butterfly. And that butterfly is just going to get stamped once and cut out and fussy cut and put on. All right, so, oops, that didn't come out very great. There, that's better. And we're going to use Peach Pie on her. And again, you can start with the light or the dark. It doesn't matter. It's really a personal preference. The issue is that you need to make sure you blend when all is said and done. So I'm going to start with my dark in this the dark one this time. Just going to put in a couple of areas. I'm going to make this butterfly. I don't even think I'm going to go Peach Pie all the way to the end. I might bring in my color lifter. I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to go light here. So the light and dark here aren't even a whole lot of different in color. here I have a beautiful peach butterfly. I can see the dark down here. If you go over the dark again, just putting it in towards his body a little bit. You can see that the hard edges really, really don't exist now. They blend whether you start with the light or the dark first, but you can keep blending. The more you blend, the softer it's going to be. Now, if I want the wings to be really soft, maybe out on the ends, I don't even really want them to have much color at all. So I can come in with the color lifter and make that color even lighter. Now it's going to take a little bit for it to work, but I think you can see that it is working. You know, maybe I do want to, I might want to stamp the butterfly on the card just because of those antennae. Let's see. So at the retreat this weekend, several people noted that I like to fussy cut. I really do not mind it. I do like dies, but there is no die for this butterfly, so I'd be stuck anyways. You will find that the more you do it, the less you mind it. Brings you back to 4th grade. You know, back when life was simpler. You had no worries. Well, I suppose you think you had worries back then, and you probably did, but for 4th grade worries, different kind of beast. All right, now I'm going to try to very carefully get as close as I can to the antenna. It is going to be on a white piece, so it's fine. It won't, the white that remains won't show very much. So we're going to have him kind of on and off, something like that. So if we want to take a black, even just a regular black Stampin' Write marker, and just color that edge, that's going to make that edge be nice and neat on your white, against your white. And it definitely gives the butterfly a little bit more definition. All right. Let's see what we get when we put it all together. Ooh, oh, I bent. There we go. So we'll have something like, looks like that, and you can't even see the little white that's between his antennae. Let's put some glue on here. There we go. And let's see, here's a card base. Now this is a little bit different, right? There's a lot more border here, top and bottom, than on the sides. And so I have some choices, but remember, I'm gonna have my butterfly here. So my butterfly's hanging off a little bit. I wonder what would happen if I brought in a little bit of peach pie cardstock. So what would happen if I cut 2 pieces that are, say, 2 inches long? That's what I'm doing right now, off camera. What would happen if I stuck that under there just a little bit? And just a little bit there. And so that looks, doesn't look bad. I don't know that I love it though. Don't know that I love it. So let's do something else. Let's take a base that is 4 by 5 1/4. set all this stuff aside, get my markers out of the way, bring back in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And we're going to emboss. Let's stay with the brick. Let's stay with the brick. We're going to just emboss that. Give that back piece a little bit of texture. Well, silly Sharon, you need some plates there, don't you? So let's get our plates. Number 1, our folder with the fold through first, and then number 4. This is a great set for Mother's Day, I think. I'm going to do a 4th card on Friday using this same set. And again, I will make the image a little bit different than intended, I think. I think you'll like it. A little bit more traditional. I mean, this is fairly traditional too. We've just got these pieces. And again, I'm going to curl that up just a little bit. And because I've got the color underneath it, it does look like it's going all the way around. All right, so there we have that. Let's go ahead and we will put this up on dimensionals. It's a nice Mother's Day card. My mother probably wouldn't like it because it's not symmetrical. I mean, all the borders aren't consistent. I mean, she would like it because her daughter made it, but let's put a dimensional right here and stick right in the corner. Make sure he's not going off anywhere. And there we go. And if you wanted to cut in between his antennas a little bit, you could. I'm gonna chance it. I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference in how it looks. But there we go. It does separate them a little bit. Of course, we need a sentiment. I almost forgot the sentiment. We're just going to go with thanks again because that's what's right here. But you could do happy birthday. You could do friend. You could do a sympathy kind of card. The colors are a little bit bright for sympathy for me, but yeah, we'll balance this out by putting this on the left side, opposite the butterfly, and there we go. Another simple card. Let's do the butterfly. Now, we don't want to do the butterfly directly on here. Well, we can. Let me show you. We can, but we can't color it with blends on here because, and I don't want it, I want it in the upper corner, I think. Because the blends are going to bleed through the back. So here's what you can do in the meantime. You can take your butterfly, stamp her again. You can color her. Let's see. Let's start with light this time. Give an overall wash first. I'm going to fussy cut this, so I don't really care if I go out a little bit. I stayed mostly inside. But... And let's get some darker in the center here, kind of coming out. And we will blend it with the light tip. There we go. Now, I don't need to cut out the antenna this time because I've already stamped my butterfly on the page. I can even cut inside this black line a little bit. And if I line it up, if I glue it just right, then the black's going to show whether from the top or from the one underneath. I don't have to cut out the antenna because the bottom one's got the antenna, making this butterfly easier to fussy cut. In fact, I'm going to just cut around the body. I'm not even going to cut the body. I'm going to make the wings a little bit more prominent. I'm not using dimensionals here. I'm just going to use the glue, but because it is a cardstock thickness, it will give the appearance that it's above it anyways. A little bit more dimensional. Oh, that's so cute. So cute. And there is our card. As you could tell from that last card, sometimes just popping up a portion of the image creates more interest in the card than if you were to pop up the whole thing. So don't forget to join me on Friday as I play a little bit more with the Spotlight on Nature bundle and I create something beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful card that you'll be able to give to your mom, a sister, a dear friend. They're going to love it. So join me, and it will be part of the free card kit that you get with a $40 purchase from my online store between now and this coming Sunday, May 4th. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and I will see you on Friday, if not before.